Hello, Dr. Lee. Can you hear me? Me too. Hello. How's everything going?
Great. How about you?
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you. So I put together this reapplication for the course on, I think it should be November 15th, we said, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
November 15th. Perfect.
That's the one for
Dermatology.
dermatology. It's a English version or Chinese?
I think English.
English. Okay, great.
I think, yeah, English should be better, right? So since we have approval, only I have to approve like 30 days before. So I will.
Okay, so November.
Okay, yes, November 15th.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here. It's our great pleasure to have you here. Hello, Neil.
And thank you for doing so much for the board.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I'm very excited. I hope I can sleep after all this excitement.
Right. Right. We have Aaron here, and I heard that it was yesterday or today his birthday.
Correct, yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. I saw checking his Facebook. It says.
When he gets on here, we'll sing happy birthday to him later.
Sure.
Hello, hello. How's everyone going?
Good,
Oh, I don't
you.
see him.
Yeah, are we required to have our cameras on, or is it okay to just chat?
Whatever's your comfortableness.
Okay.
You can keep your curlers in your hair.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in full drag right now, so.
I think I'm the only one who understood what you said.
Exactly. So I spoke with Scott today. We have everything planned out for next week to have everything transferred with Victoria. Next Friday, everything should be transferred. I think one thing we need to generally discuss is if we want two people, one person to manage the PAC account and one person to manage the general account, or if you guys want me to manage both accounts.
You know, to me, it's easier if you do both accounts, but other people are telling me it's better to keep them separate. So we'll have to discuss that in our face-to-face to figure out who has how much time on what committee.
Yeah. And then also if we want a second signer, just in case I'm not available for whatever reason, that way you don't have to like wait for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whenever, depending on the situation.
Correct. Well, the president it's usually the president, treasurer, and then one other person on the executive committee. So it's either the secretary, usually the secretary, or the vice president.
Okay, cool.
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, doesn't matter to me either.
I didn't hear from everybody today. I believe that all the Maria, Priya, and Larico are coming. I know that Sun Lee is coming. Said she was.
I think only Larico was not able to come.
Correct. That's the only one I heard that wasn't coming.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm looking at your picture. It's a still picture. I'm waiting for you to blink. I spoke to a parliamentarian today, and I'll explain that later. But we're going to have a 2-hour parliamentarian boot camp.
Nice.
In the first 2 weeks, where he'll come on and he'll do a 2-hour evening Zoom meeting from 7 to 9, and it's going to cost us $200. I told him I'd give him a tip, so I just figured $225.
Yeah.
And he'll go over everything, and he goes over how to run a meeting, but he also takes a look at our bylaws, and then he will explain to us all what our fiduciary duties are and what that means. This guy was the chairman of the California Parliamentarians Association for the last 5 years. He just stepped down on Monday. He's really qualified. He's like way qualified. He advises the Senate and the Assembly and legislators, and he's really the top of his class. He taught me about this stuff 15 years ago when I was president of the Chamber of Commerce. We had a retreat, and then I had him come, and it really helped make helps make the meetings run a lot smoother.
Yeah.
What time is it? Well, it's 5 after. Let's give everybody another few minutes. Okay, where's my cell phone?
Oh, Sean's trying to get in. Let me resend him the link, I think.
Hi, Priya.
She's in.
Yeah, I saw that she's here and Josh is here and Sun is here. So we got 3,
Yep.
4, 5, 6. We got 6, so we're still missing 5. 4 because Larico's not coming.
Yeah, Sean,
Actually,
Sean
three.
is on his way.
Three.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're missing 3. We're missing Maria and Sean and Dr. Wen. I don't know if Dr. Wen will make it. We'll start in about 4 minutes. How's that?
Sean should be coming soon. There we go.
Hi there, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. We're gonna start, I guess, in a little bit. Still waiting on a few people.
Got it.
Can you send Maria the link? She doesn't have it. Aaron?
I'll send it to her.
Okay.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm on. Maria.
Hello, welcome. So we're only missing one person, and Neil is contact them. So please wait a few seconds. We'll start soon.
Sean, could you send Dr. Wen the link to his Gmail account?
Yeah, hold on one second here. Done.
Let's see. Okay, I just got off the phone with Dr. Wen. He said he's going to be on in a few minutes. So I guess we're ready to go. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'll get started. Congratulations. We did it.
Yes.
Almost impossible task, but I had faith, and I had faith in the team, and unbelievable. So 11 for 11, we all got in. Everybody here has met everybody other than Sunny. So we're going to go around and everybody take a few minutes just to introduce yourselves, and we can start with Sunny.
Oh, yeah. So what should I say? Can you hear me?
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Yeah, I'm Sun, and I graduated from South Belo University. I have a clinic in Koreatown. What else?
He's a member of the AAAMA Korean team that brought in 47 professional members and 3 students. Graduate from UCLA in psychology, and has a background working in insurance as an insurance adjuster for 30 years. How's that?
Yeah, thank you.
And she's super nice, really smart, funny, and I'm really glad she's on the team. So everybody welcome her to the team.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank
All right,
you.
Josh, you're up.
Hi, I'm Josh Margolis, up in Santa Rosa, California, practicing about 20 years, mostly orthopedics, and I'm a Canadian trained osteopath as well. So looking forward to playing that role and helping us push our domain and protect our scope of practice. That's kind of it for now.
Sean?
Hi. Yes, I am Sean Gardner. I'm a 4th-year student at Pacific College of Health and Science. I have served for 2 terms on the student council there, once as an events chair and once as vice president. I am glad to be elected as the student representative for CalAtma. I've been serving for almost 2 years, since 2018, as the student representative for the Western Division of the American Society of Acupuncturists, the Students Division. And I'm looking to re-engage the entire student body of every single one of our 63 schools in the entire United States, to get them more engaged in what it is happening on a political level, on a national level, on a state level. So yeah, you guys, I really appreciate it.
Maria, you're up.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm still at my wellness center. I am Maria Elizabeth Barrera, and I went to school at Yosan, transferred to Southern California University of Health Sciences. I've had my own practice now for over a year, but I've been an acupuncturist for 3. And yeah, my main reason for wanting to join is really the legislative and political aspect. I really want to get some of these bills into law and some of not into law. And I have a community organizing background, so I'm also really excited to get acupuncturists involved and taking action across the state of California nationally.
Farshid.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I graduated as an MD in Iran and also ER doctor for years. And also I got my master and doctorate in acupuncture, graduated from USAN. Right now I am academic assistant, associate academic dean in the USAN and also teaching there. So, and also I had the chance to serve the last board as the education and academic committee chair. So, and it's my honor to join and re-elect. Thank you.
Dr. Lee.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations.
Yay.
Yeah, my name is Virginie and graduated from, medical school of TCM in China, and have been practicing and teaching TCM for 36 years. It's for a long time. So I specialize in dermatology, and right now I'm still teaching in Yosan, and for more than 25 years for both the master and the doctorate program. And I have my own practice and business, and so I'm very glad to be here, and hopefully we can do something together, make some difference. I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Aaron, you're up.
Hello, I'm Aaron. I don't have my camera on right now. I'll probably turn it on in like 45 minutes. But anyways, I'm here in San Jose, California. I graduated from Five Branches University, both the master's program and the DOM program. I have my practice of 3 years here in San Jose. Kind of specialize in not specializing, so I kind of do everything. Yeah, I wanted to join CalAtma mainly to get kind of more people involved. I think, across at least all the Facebook groups, you see that everyone complains about things with acupuncture, but they don't really get themselves involved in organizations. And I believe that CalAtma, our whole purpose is to unify the profession here in California, and then ideally spread across or work with other state associations to protect our scope of practice. So I wanted to be a part of that. And then also get a lot of students with Sean involved, get the schools involved, basically become like all the other state associations by having student memberships and things like that as well.
I guess that leaves me since Dr. Wendt isn't here. My name is Neil Miller. I appreciate all of you. Pardon?
You forgot Priya.
Priya, go.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Aaron.
I'm sorry.
Son, first of all, I want to just welcome you on board of our team. It's so nice to have you with us and part of our group. And yay, team. And I just, I graduated in 2008 from Emperor. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Leela's making pesto pasta right now, so please don't mind the blender. So I graduated from Empress College in 2008. And I have my doctorate also from Empress College back in I don't know, 2014, 2015, who knows, something like that. And I have two practices, one in West LA and one in San Pedro. And so I really treat a lot of different things. I work with women's health. I work with all different conditions. I do pain, pretty much all of that. And, the reason why I just love CalAtma is because it's a legislative association. And I feel like we need to, first of all, become essential because we are. And also, there's just so many things that, like what Maria said, to be able to create laws and legislation to help our profession to really move forward and become more mainstream medicine, because that is really what I believe we should be. And, and of course, stop the legislation that is not going to be good for us, but mainly focus on bringing in our entire group of Californians and acupuncturists and connecting everyone to, because I feel like with more, we can do more. And that's why I feel it's so important to just have this team to just go out there and bring in the team, bring in everybody. I'm so excited to be part of that.
Thank you. Anyway, my name is Neil Miller. I'm an acupuncturist. I graduated from Empress in 1987. I've been very active in politics for 30 years and doing research. I did research in HIV for about 10 years. I specialize in orthopedics, autoimmune cancer. I'm a student of Dr. Lee and Dr. Wen. And I've organized everybody here because this is my dream team. Having been active in politics, I realized the importance of the evolution of medicine and how you need the politics of medicine to be involved. There are 13,000 acupuncturists in California, and 11,000 of them belong to no association. So that's our biggest target market in terms of recruitment of members. We want to reach out to existing organizations, but there's 11,000 people out there that are simply not counted. Both Farshid and I served on the current board of trustees. I'm original of the steering committee. I'm the only one left from the steering committee. I'm a lifelong member of CalAtma. And so I wanted to bring everybody together tonight to introduce everybody and to go over a little bit of the ground rules, just lightly tonight. We'll have some more in-depth sessions on how to run a meeting and what our fiduciary duties are and so on and so forth. And that's some of the stuff we're going to work on through October and November, and develop policies on particular legislation and strategies that we'll work out as a team. Farshid and I are going to work out committee assignments and stuff like that. We elect a board of officers, and we're going to do that on Sunday. There's a president, a vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary. And we're going to go over the bylaws here in a minute, a little bit. I assume that everybody had a chance to receive it and read it. If you didn't, there's no harm, no foul. We'll still have time to do it. But I just kind of wanted to go over it. And some of the things that are on here, we haven't done yet. A couple hours ago, I spoke to what is it called? A parliamentarian. And so in the next 2 weeks or so, we're going to have a meeting at night, a 2-hour boot camp from a parliamentarian who's going to discuss what our bylaws are, what our responsibilities are, and how best and most efficiently to run a meeting. So without any further, I'm going to kind of go through the bylaws a little bit. I'm going to go through it pretty quick. If you have any questions, stop me. But it is important that everybody reads the bylaws. We do have a legal responsibility to the organization because we're a 501c6 nonprofit. Dr. Wen. We've all introduced ourselves, Dr. Wen, so it's your turn to give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think I know most of you. My name is Hua Bingwen. I'm currently teaching at both USAN and Empress College. So USAN since 1995 and Empress College since 2002. So for both their master program and doctoral program. I also have a private practice. I also teach a lot of CEUs. I'm so glad to join the team. Yeah, it's congratulations, Neil. It's a great compliment. Yeah, by now.
Karen, I have to say hi to you. Long time no say.
It's been a long time, right? Yeah.
So the biggest rule beyond the bylaws is something that I want to give everybody personally from me. The most important thing is your own life, your family life and your practice life, and that should take precedent over CalAtma. And so I just want everybody not to feel guilty if you don't have time. If you don't have time, reach out to somebody else on the team. We all have to understand one another as having limited time and that we're all volunteering. We do need to get an executive director. It is written in the bylaws and eventually we will, but we're going to spend most of our money this year on legislation and building up our membership so that we have enough money to do more legislation and to get an executive director. So much of what we're going to be doing will be done by an executive director in the future. So I really appreciate everybody volunteering. I'm going to read the mission of the association. It's in the bylaws. The mission is to protect, promote, integrate, and advance the practice of acupuncture and traditional medicine, preserve the rights of the patients it serves, and seek continuous improvement in the quality of patient care. So the Article 3 is about membership, and it talks about there being a code of ethics, other rules and policies that the association can adopt. We do not yet have a ethics policy. It is written in the bylaws, so it is something we're going to have to work on. It lists what a professional member is, which basically says you have to be licensed and not have any strikes against you and be in accordance with our mission statement or our purpose. We have a lifetime membership that we started with when we started CalAtma. There are 4 lifetime members, and it says in the bylaws that a lifetime member is only a limited offer, but we're going to meet again and maybe change that, because anybody that wants to give us $5,000, I certainly want to take it and let them be a part of it. I am a lifetime member, and along with 3 others. A non-voting member, a student is a
Sorry, Neil, would you like I show the bylaw so you can read from the screen? Would you
Sure,
like
if you
to do
could
that?
put it up, that's great.
Sure.
A student is a non-voting member, but we're on the next page down, Farshid. Keep going. One more. There we go. So a student does have a seat on the board of trustees. We fought really hard to make sure that a student had a voice on the board of trustees, and I'm really blessed. We're really blessed to have Sean as our student member. Retired, so if you're retired, you can be a member. You just pay a different rate, and all of the membership dues we're going to revisit. So some of this stuff is outdated. And associate member is something from any other association or out-of-state members. Being that dry needling is a big issue, I want to make a push, recommend that we make a push that we get people from around the country that would like to contribute to our dry needling campaign. Dry needling is now in 46 states, and California represents 1/3 of all acupuncturists. So we're a big piece of the prize. Membership meetings. Meetings are have been on the 3rd Sunday of the month from 7 to 9. That's something that when we have an all-day meeting, we could discuss amongst us what is the best day to have a 2-hour monthly meeting. At Dr. Lee's request, and I agree, we should need to have an all-day meeting. where we can go over all of the details of different committees and assignments and what each committee's responsibilities are, so on and so forth. And since this wasn't done by the last Board of Trustees, it's something that we're going to have to do and write up what the duties and responsibilities of every committee are, so that when we're gone, we can hand that off to the next committee. It does say in the bylaws that there's a chief executive officer that is a non-voting member. This is a really, really, really important thing. I founded 3 associations, CSOMA, CSOM, and AIMS, and all 3 of them had an executive director. This is the first one that I've worked on that we haven't. That's the person that will take our ideas and then do the work. But since we don't have an executive director now, we have to share our ideas, put them down on paper, come up with a strategic plan. Farshid has a lot of experience doing strategic plans, so we're all going to come up with our ideas, brainstorming, and give them to Farshid, and he's going to put it into an organized fashion of what our strategic plan is. A strategic plan is also really important because if we want to do research, we need to have a strategic plan, and that's a big part of what we want to do to try to get federal grants to do research. So getting an executive director is really important. I'm looking into getting a part-time person who can help us organize some of the duties that we do. To have somebody who handles communication, for instance, communication committee is not just one person. It's the website, it's the newsletter, it's our Instagram account, it's all the different forms of communication. It's much too much for one person, so we'll have one person who could manage other people, and I have a list of at least 4 people who want to be on that committee who have skills, who have some skills in marketing and other things relating to brand and communication. Election of a term of officers. You can serve 2 terms. That's something that I want to revisit because I think someone could serve 3 terms. So that's something that I personally want to revisit. But you get to serve 2 terms. Another area that we have to discuss amongst us going forward is that all of us resigned at the same time. We all joined at the same time and resigned at the same time. And in the future, we're going to have to stagger us. So some of the people will step off and then make themselves available to be voted back on. So we'll have 1-year and 2-year terms next year. And so that part of the board will leave and part of the board will stay. Anybody can to resign. A board of trustee just has to write a letter to the president, and it takes effect when they say that it takes effect on that day. If you have you can be removed from the board of trustees if you have a conflict of interest. There's a place on here for conflict of interest. When I have the parliamentarian here, he'll explain a lot more about what that means. And that has to do with the code of ethics that we're going to have to create. If there's a vacancy, if somebody leaves and there's a vacancy, then we as the board of trustees can appoint someone. So we can open it up to get people that want to be on, or we can just, somebody that we know can recommend it to the rest of us, and we get to appoint that person for the rest of the term. Meetings, as I mentioned, there's a regular meeting. It says in the bylaws we have a meeting every 2 months, but that's never going to work. So we're going to have a meeting once a month for at least 2 hours, a working meeting amongst ourselves. And that's the time when the different committees will report to one another and discuss ideas and move forward with that. We have special meetings. A special meeting can be called by the president at any time, or by a simple majority of the board of trustees can call a meeting, special meeting. All meetings require 7 days in advance, unless all of us agree. Like we all say, hey, we need to have a special meeting, and all of us agree. If one person disagrees, then we have to go the allotted 7 days. If we want to vote on something online and we want to get everybody's to agree, but if one person disagrees, then we have to respect that person's disagreement and give them the respect to make their case in a face-to-face or a Zoom meeting. because sometimes that one person might have an idea that the rest of us didn't think of. And so we want to be respectful of that. The purpose for a special meeting needs to be announced. There can be a written consent in lieu of a meeting if we all agree in writing, online to agree to a meeting, a telephone meeting, or a Zoom meeting. We didn't have Zoom when we started this, but a telephone meeting or a Zoom meeting will satisfy a meeting. They're run just like all the other meetings. Conflict of interest. Any transaction by or with an association that a trustee has a direct or indirect personal interest, or any transaction in which a trustee is unable to exercise an impartial judgment, then they just have to recuse themselves on that particular issue and let us know that they have a conflict of interest. If you don't disclose that you have a conflict of interest, that itself is a conflict of interest, and that could be cause for removal if you don't admit something. So if you belong to another group and your loyalty is to another group, but that's not something that, I know this team, so we're all cool there. The officers, we will elect a group of officers. The officers are president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. They make up the executive committee. No officer shall serve more than 2 consecutive terms in the same office. And you can be removed for failure to disclose conflict of interest, or a dereliction of duty, or a violation of the code of ethics, which does not yet exist. The president, these are the sort of job descriptions. This is something that we're going to have to visit and re-explain to ourselves what all these roles mean. So it's a work in progress, much like the Constitution. But the president shall appoint a parliamentarian. So in the absence of a parliamentarian, the president becomes the parliamentarian. But I'm going to have somebody who comes and gives us that, like I said, the parliamentarian boot camp, so we understand how things work. The president acts as sort of a public face or a spokesperson for the group. And the president is authorized to sign contracts and sign checks. The vice president's duty on here says basically if I die or if I'm not here or if something happens, not necessarily me, but whoever the president is, then the vice president takes over. If the president has to go pee, the vice president takes over. If the president has a meeting, the vice president takes over. I also want to include this with the secretary, which is next. The secretary keeps the minutes of the meeting. She sends out notices about all meetings and reminds everybody of the provisions in the bylaws, and the secretary keeps records. That's their responsibility. But I think that we should have a backup secretary, because sometimes the secretary isn't there and I don't want to catch somebody off guard that you don't know who the secretary is. And the treasurer is responsible for all the financial matters. All of us, it has a fiduciary duty, meaning that somebody has given us money and we have a legal responsibility because we're a 501c6 nonprofit. So we have a legal responsibility to be responsible for the money. The treasurer is the one who is responsible. They make all of the deposits. They make a monthly report. The committees, as I mentioned, there's an executive committee and there's going to be standing committees and task forces. I've already asked Josh to head up the task force on dry needling, and he's putting together that task force. Fritz is going to be on a task force for lasers. All task force and committees do have to have one of the board of trustees on the committee. But our insurance committee, for instance, is going to be chaired by Maury West. We're very lucky to have Maury. If you don't know Maury, she has a large billing company, and she is the representative for the ASA on all insurance matters. So she'll be able to give us a clue on all national and state issues. I told Sun, I told Maury about you, and she's interested and will be getting in touch with you. Let's see. Robert's Rules of Order is something that's listed. It's a really thick book that everybody can read if you have the time, but that's why I'm having a parliamentarian come and explain it in simple terms so that we can all understand how meetings run. And it does say that we do have to hire an executive officer who doesn't get the vote, and that they will run the staff, and we have oversight over the executive officer, and that their compensation will be reviewed every 2 years, but we can adjust that because I don't want to hire someone for 2 years. I'd rather do it for 1 year and make sure that they're a good person. And let's see. And the bylaws can be changed at any time with notice to the board members, to all of the members. But it's generally done at the annual meeting, and it has to have 60 days notice if we're going to change the bylaws. And obviously we have to change the bylaws because they're not complete. So I hope that wasn't too boring, too long. Any comments, any questions from anybody? Okay, tough crowd if I were a comedian.
We're gonna review these also on Sunday again.
We can go over them briefly, but we just really need to have some brief understanding of how a meeting works, how making a motion works in a second, and handling the agenda and so on and so forth. And that's the thing that the parliamentarian will explain. Sunday is basically the existing board is supposed to meet with us, greet us. They're supposed to introduce themselves. We're supposed to introduce ourselves. They are to give us any documents, any guidance that they might have, and we're going to dismiss them. Farshid sent out an agenda, but we have since received a letter from the president as current board members that she is in protest, not going to show up. So we don't know who's going to show up other than Scott, who is the current treasurer and all-around great guy who's going to really help us get some of the basics down so we're operational and functional.
Quick question.
Okay.
Is there anybody who is not familiar with Robert's Rules? Okay, just wanted to check. I had to do this with my previous associations and student councils just to get everybody up to speed. And clearly I'm not talking to a bunch of students, but I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't know something, don't be shy to say it in front of everybody here, or either call Farshid or I, and we'll take our time to explain something. If we went over something here and it's too quick and you don't want to take up everybody's time, just, the big thing that we want to do is communicate and keep it friendly. So as I started to mention, the most important thing is our families and our businesses, and for Sean getting out of school. But the other important thing is that we have some fun, and that we respect one another and we get things done, and we all are open to being wrong and learning, and that we're going to argue and disagree. If we all agree on something and it's 11-0 vote, that's great. If it's a 6-5 vote, 6 wins. 5 people are disappointed, but we need to respect the 5, and the 5 need to get behind the 6 as majority rules. So those are just some of the basic ground rules. Where's my agenda? Farshid is.
Oh, I have a question. Okay, I need your help. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So for our Sunday meeting, okay, according to the section 9, it says that we have to announce the time, date, place of the meeting 7 days prior, and this is the job of the president of the Kalat. So basically, we don't have president right now. So this section is like a chicken and egg, so we don't have president, so therefore we will have election and also other stuff, from the, transition from the previous board of trustees to the recent one. So, but we have to understand that we don't have president. So these 7 days doesn't uh, is not taking into consideration.
In the interest of transparency, is it okay with everybody here if we waive that 7 days and that we elect the officers on Sunday? So, if there's
Yes, I
anybody,
will second that motion.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a motion. It can be by a simple yay or nay. So everybody unmute yourself, and if you're in agreement, say yay.
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 Okay, and if you have a nay, don't feel bad if you're the dissenting vote. It's not, we want to respect anybody who has that. So, any nays?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question before I vote. So in terms of electing positions, I would want to know the position, the description of the position in order to be able to elect. So if we can all get that information, then I think I would feel equipped to vote on Sunday, because you're going to get to self-elect or somebody will nominate you.
Correct. Well, let me go over it again real quick.
So do we have descriptions of the positions? And
Yeah, it would be on page it's on page 5, section 7, 8, 9, and then 10 is on the next page. It's a brief description. It is definitely lacking, but this is what we have. So the president, as I said, they appoint a parliamentarian. They appoint committees and task forces. They coordinate with all the board of trustees. The president is the public face of the association. He signs contracts and has authorized and is authorized to perform all of the above duties as prescribed by the board. The vice president basically has the same job as the president if the president is not there. But in this case, I want our president and vice president to be a little bit more like Obama and Biden, where they work together, because it's too big. Without an executive director, it's going to take both president and vice president and the team of the secretary and the treasurer to make certain decisions. So the bylaws doesn't explain it perfectly, but it gives us some idea. The secretary keeps the minutes of the meeting. So they would announce the date, the time of the meeting is being recorded, and so on. They hand it over to the president. The president runs the meeting. If they need to vote, if we're going to vote by, there's different ways to vote. Like you can vote as a yay or nay, like I just did. You can vote by secret ballot where you write it down, or you can vote by roll call. So in the past, we voted by roll call. So the president calls the roll to the secretary. Secretary calls the roll and goes down one by one, saying, are you yes, no, or abstain on the vote. The secretary also sees that all notices are given in accordance with the provisions of the bylaws and ensure the staff keep corporate records. Well, since we don't have any staff at this time, then it's the responsibility of the secretary to keep the corporate records. And that's, from what I understand, it's beyond my pay grade, but I think it's pretty simple. There's Google Group documents that will hold all of the records. So there's a way that's technologically pretty simple for the secretary to do that. The secretary is a member of the executive committee, so where there isn't time for an emergency meeting, or if a decision needs to be made and we need to converge an emergency vote on something, then it's the president, vice president, secretary, and the treasurer. And the treasurer is responsible for all financial matters. They ensure that the staff are properly receive and give receipts for money. If we spend any money, All those receipts go to the treasurer. In the past, Scott was a treasurer and he did everything himself. We have enough money that it is my recommendation that we just simply hire a bookkeeper and a accountant to file the two things that we need to file. One are the general bookkeeping we need to file as a 501c6 corporation once a year. I'm not sure if we need to do that quarterly or once a year. And Aaron, unless anybody else wants to do it, Aaron has volunteered to do that. So if there's anybody else that wants it, they're welcome to run for the position. But Aaron has taken upon that responsibility to meet next week and have the accounts signed over to him. We can always change that if somebody else wants to run. But he'll be getting all of the financial things, and he's meeting with Scott, who's being a prince, and explaining all of the financial stuff. Scott is going to be on the meeting on Sunday, and between Scott and Farshid and I, we'll try to discuss what went right with the last Board of Trustees, and that'll take about 3 minutes. And what went wrong, I don't want to really focus on the details of who did what and what went wrong, but overall, what can we learn about what wasn't done and what was wrong? Did that answer the question, Maria?
Yes, so these are like the main posts, like positions, and then there's gonna be subcommittees and committees.
Correct. And so there are, in the past, we've had standing committees. Standing committee was membership and member benefits.
Do we have those written somewhere?
Pardon?
Do we have those committee descriptions written somewhere?
No.
Sorry. So Maria, we invited for the next on the Sunday meeting. So the last Board of Trustees to explain about their committee, their tasks, and what they have done, and what is pending. So maybe if they join us, so we can review with them. And also it is provide us, a time to have a question and answer, so you can get a bit better picture about an understanding about what they're doing.
But if they don't show up, we'll create the description of what these committees do. And as we move along, we're going to discover and uncover what the duties and responsibilities are. We need to take it easy on ourselves because otherwise the task becomes overwhelming.
I can help write the descriptions of the committees if you guys need help.
Yeah, well, one of the things that the executive director was supposed to do was to write descriptions of the committees. Every committee is supposed to have a strategic plan. So from the previous Board of Trustees, all of these strategic plans are useless, except for the one that Farshid did on academics and education and the one I did on legislation. And we can look those up and bring those forth.
And also there are a Google Drive. In the Google Drive, you can find out more description and also more documents, which is other committees has been done. So maybe it is not available now after the Sunday when they hand over. So you have access to the Google Drive and you can get more information about, the past from the steering committee and the 2019-2020 Board of Trustees.
I have a question from somebody in the group regarding the discussions that we were having in forming this regarding having 2 vice presidents. The ASA has created a time for them to have 2 presidents, and it's something that I think would be good for us. But that requires a change of bylaws. And so at this time, we're going to have a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Everybody is welcome to run for those positions. I am reluctantly being pushed into running for president. I really want to just focus on legislative affairs, but I am an original member, so I am going to run for president. And I know Farshid is going to run for vice president. And we discussed, and everybody is welcome to it, and there's no hard feelings if anybody has another position and they want to run for it. But our thinking was, because we were on the existing board of trustees, we have a little bit more experience to move us forward, and then to design what it would look like to have two vice presidents, one in the north and one in the south. And that the vice president's role is not just being there when the president can't be there. I'm in Southern California. Aaron is in Northern California. Priya is in West Side. And so as we go meet, if the president meets with the legislator, you want to have the vice president be able to go meet with another legislator or do other things. But at this time, I had wanted to do this, and Scott humbled me and corrected me in saying that it couldn't, both Farshid and I, saying it couldn't be done at this time because the bylaws are clear that it says that there is one vice president. But there is a precedent because ASA changed their bylaws to go to two vice presidents, and I will be getting the information from them. Maury West, who's on the ASA Insurance Committee, wrote a letter today to the ASA, letting them know that we have a new board of trustees and that we will have a new person appointed to be the ASA representative and an alternate who is the backup. And we will get information to present to everybody on what the transition of getting two vice presidents was. And I want to have the parliamentarian explain the pluses and the minuses, the things that might be good about that and the things that aren't going to be good about that historically from organizations. And then we as a group can make that decision. It's not my decision. I do want to say about one thing about voting. It's not a rule that the president doesn't vote, but I'm going to make it, if I'm the president, it's going to be my rule that I'm not going to vote on anything unless there's a tie. So in other words, I don't want to influence anything unless there's an absolute deadlock, and then it'll be my decision or whoever the president is. I just think that's a fair way to let everybody voice their opinions and have the person who's running the meeting not voice their opinion until the very end, until they've heard all testimony. Did that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Any more questions on what we've gone over in terms of bylaw and basic operations? And I do sincerely apologize.
I think Priya has a question.
Pardon?
I have a quick question. So this is in regards to Sunday. We're basically, from what I understand, we're transitioning from the old board to the new board. And now what Dr. Farshid just mentioned is that some of the new board or the old board might not be there. Does that affect anything, or does that just automatically, whether they are present or not, does that affect the transition, or does that have nothing, like, will that not impact it?
It's never been done. It hasn't written in the bylaws. We know what is supposed to be done, and if they don't do what is supposed to be done, then we'll just have to be flexible and adjust to taking over. The secretary and the person that handles the PAC account, Scott sent her documents and she refused to accept them. And she wrote on their return to sender. So Scott let her know that that's not appropriate. She has a legal fiduciary duty to sign over the documents to the next treasurer. So we really don't know, Priya, what it's going to be, but I trust that we all like each other, know each other, and we're all going in the right direction. So there's no animosity for us trying to get the upper hand on any of us. It's really a team effort. And I really want to stress that the president has no more power than anybody else on this team. Whoever the president or the executive committee have no more power. Everybody here gets one vote. And that's just how it works. And we just have to be a little bit flexible until we can figure out what's what, because the current team that's in place they're not even a team, but the people who are in charge now did such a poor job that we just have to pick up the slack, and we'll figure it out on Sunday. So Sunday was going to be elect the Board of Trustees. Scott will give a report on the Treasury, and Farshid will give the annual meeting report. And that's basic agenda. So we should be able to get out of there pretty quick. And then we can try to figure out what's a good day. We were thinking that the 25th would be a good day to have a face-to-face meeting. It's a couple weeks out, and because of COVID right now, there's just two of us that are traveling from up north to come down here, Josh and Aaron. So the path of least resistance is the one that we're going to take. And the one that at the end, we all just say, wow, that was a great job, team. We figured that out, and now we'll move on to the next item. Any other comments or questions?
Do we have for Sunday's meeting? I mean, I guess the first thing we should, I would think the first thing or first position we should actually elect would probably be the secretary so that we can actually write the meeting or the minutes, right? Because in order for me to, if I do become treasurer or whoever becomes treasurer, we need to have the minutes as proof of the election and transferring over the names from the bank to the new treasurer. So
This first meeting was gonna, as are all our meetings, recorded. So there is a recorded document that will show what it is that we have, and when we elect this secretary, that secretary could go over and write up what was said, so that at our next meeting, we will approve of the minutes of our first meeting.
Okay, so just like retroactively write the minutes for the.
Is there anybody interested in being the secretary now? Because a bunch of you gave me somebody's name. No? All right, well, everybody has time to think about it. The job won't be that hard, especially when we get an executive director. I just got a text from Dario Fromer. Dario Fromer was an assemblyman. He was actually the governor's appointment secretary under Gray Davis. I was next in line to be appointed to the acupuncture board when Gray Davis was recalled by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that's why I never got on the board. And one of my patients is a former state senator, and she told me this former assemblyman, he was the chair of the health committee. He knows everyone, and he really likes me. And he just wrote me and he said, hey, Neil, it's great to hear from you. I understand you're doing great things, and I'm really interested to speak with you. Call me tomorrow afternoon, and we can talk about lobbying together. So I've made that first step without taking over the board. I've taken the liberty to at least indulge in a conversation. When I find out what our budget is, based on how much it's going to cost us to lobby, then I'll know how much we can afford for an executive director or an executive secretary. So that will make everybody's job a little bit easier. So I don't want everybody to be as overwhelmed as I am looking at this as this big mountain. Because it shouldn't be that difficult. It should be simple, and we should be able to manage it with our normal lives. Did that answer the question? Aaron, are you cool?
And for the in-person meeting on Sunday, what time are we thinking? The in-person on the 25th. I put that I'm at a 50-50 right now. Chance that I could go.
It would be like 10 in the morning till like 4 in the afternoon. 10 to 4 or 5, so that if we run a little bit over, we have a little bit of room. So just let us know and keep us posted on that. So a couple other things. One of the things I'm going to explain on Sunday is like who is Cal Atma? Because if we're all on the board of trustees and someone says, hey, what's your history? Who are you? We have to have the same talking points and create the same brand. So because Farshid and I were on the existing board, we can write something up of what the history was a little bit, so everyone's speaking the same language. Any other questions on bylaws or committees? Or, I mean, committees is something we're going to have to pick. The last Board of Trustees had several committees that were useless, and the people who were on those committees didn't do anything. And the valuable committees, most of the people didn't do anything. And Scott, myself, or Farshid ended up doing all the work. So we did our committees and we did everybody else's committee to make it work. And that's not going to happen here. If someone has a problem with the committee, just ask for help. And don't be bashful, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other and make this work. All right, so I'm going to move to the next part so we can all get out of here, which is a basic thing about how a law is made. Like everybody, some of us have more experience than others. So I just would go over some very basic things. The first thing is an idea. Somebody has an idea and they take that idea to a legislator. Oh, by the way, everybody here has a homework assignment. If I could be so bold as to give everybody a homework assignment, it's something that I want to assign every member, is that you know who your assembly and your senator are. We have an election on November 3rd, and you should know who your senator and your assembly person are. We have $25,000 in our PAC account, and I want to spend a bunch of that money between now and election day. So if everybody here knows who their senator and assembly people are, let me know so I can write them a personal letter and introduce Cal Atma to them and wish them good luck in their campaign and their election and send them some money. So, and happening this way on Zoom and not in person will get us actually a little more bang for the buck, because they'll actually probably read our letter, and we'll build friendships and relationship. But we never confuse giving someone money and doing legislation. It's never a quid pro quo of we give you money and you do a bill. It's like we just give money to people that we want to stay elected, who we think would be good legislators and have us our heart in their heart. Anyway, a person has an idea, they go to a legislator. Any one of us can go to their legislator. We are all like, Maria, you're a small business person. You happen to know how politics work, but you're a small business person and you can call your legislator. And that's what I often do, is call a legislator and say, I represent the acupuncturist in your district, and I have a rough idea of how many small businesses that is. So in my instance, when I call someone where I am in San Fernando Valley, our Senate has over 250 acupuncturists in their district. So I say there's 250 small businesses in your district, and I represent them, and I'd like to talk to you about an issue. And like the issue of changing Asian massage. Everybody here has to get in touch with their legislator and know that we want to change that. Most people think politics takes place in Sacramento, and that's because that's where it does take place, and that's where you spend millions and millions of dollars and maybe get something done and maybe not. The person with the most money most of the time wins, but the way to beat that is what's called grassroots politicking. And that's what I'm explaining now, that the politician has a duty and a responsibility to their constituents, and they never hear from us. When I call legislators, 9 out of 10 times or more, they say, I've never heard from an acupuncturist. And they're happy to meet us, and they're happy to represent us. We just have to make ourselves well known. So anyway, you get an idea, you go to a legislator, they are sold on the idea. So let's take the Asian massage thing. If Priya says, hey, I want to change this massage thing, and we look on and we see that her assembly or Senate person is somebody who would be favorable, then we'll send Priya in, and she'll talk to that person, and she'll say, hey, Priya, that's a great idea. I'll sponsor that bill. And then they take that bill and they send it, and they get legal language. And then the legal language comes back, and we approve of it with the legislator. And then it is given a number, and it's assigned to a committee. Then it goes through a committee. It's assigned to, for us, things either go to Business and Professions Committee or they go to Health Committee. sometimes they're double assigned, where it goes to health committee because it affects health, and sometimes it'll go to business and professions because it affects our license. Business and professions regulates all the different licensees, whether they're medical licensees or barbers or plumbers, anybody who has a license. And then we go to the committee, and if we get the bill through a committee, then it goes to the whole floor. So if it starts in the assembly, it goes through the assembly committee, either health or B&P for us. Then it goes to the floor. If it gets out of the floor, then it goes to the other house, does the same thing in the other house, goes through the committee, goes through the floor. If it gets through there, then it goes to the governor. Once it's out of both committees and goes to the governor has, I forget how many, the governor has 12 days to either sign the bill or veto the bill. If he does nothing, then the bill automatically becomes law. So it's pretty simple to make a bill. It's just, you have an idea, you sell the idea to somebody, they put it in legal language, and you go work the bill. Normally that bill is worked by a lobbyist who goes from one legislator to the next legislator and tries to convince them to support our bill. But in our case, we're going to get Priya, who's going to get 10 acupuncturists in her district, and they're going to get on a Zoom call with her legislator. And that's one vote. And if Aaron's person in San Jose is Evan Lowe, Aaron's going to get people on his Zoom call. And so we try to convince the legislators from the district. And that's why in my 30 years doing politics, I've been so successful, is because I've gone all over the state, getting into districts and creating small little task forces amongst acupuncturists. And that's the big overall thing that we want to accomplish from our legislative committee, is that we develop, there are 120 districts, 80 in the Assembly and 40 in the Senate. And we want to have 120 legislative teams, so that if there's a bill that we oppose, like last year there was a bill from the guy in Oakland to allow athletic trainers to have a license. So we opposed that, and we don't have a lobbyist. So we got 20 people in Oakland to call this guy and say, hey, we're not opposed to your bill. It just has to say no acupuncture, including dry needling, because in California, dry needling is acupuncture. And that bill died. They didn't have enough support. So we have bills that we're in favor of, we have bills that we're in opposition of, and then we have bills that we are in opposition unless amended. So like dry needling, opposed unless amended is probably our best position. If we oppose straight up, then it's a war. If we oppose it, like, let's negotiate. We have 900 hours and MDs have 300 hours. So let's shoot for 600 or 700 hours. We'll start at 9 and see if we can negotiate. So that's the position that you want to show up with, is a negotiable position. So it shows that we're showing up and trying to be fair to the opposition. Are there any questions about how a bill is made? So I'll give you another example. Josh is in charge of and his team are going to be in charge of the dry needling task force. So they will do research, and I'm preparing stuff that I've been preparing for many, many years to send to Josh, which will be the scope of practice of physical therapists and chiropractors, looking what they can and can't do. We'll look at what's been done in other states. We'll look at the medical doctor's position, both state and national, and then we'll write our own position. And then we'll sell our position to the state board, and then we'll argue our position by having a lobbyist who will meet with the legislator and some of us. And I'm really excited to meet with this guy, Dario Fromer, who was the head of the Assembly Health Committee. He knows everyone. He's really good friends with the governor. It's the senator, state senator. It's a woman who's been guiding me for the last month and a half on this whole revolution. And she's the one who said, call Dario. Dario can call Gavin Newsom and get us as essential by a phone call. And so she prepped him on this already. And he's calling me saying he likes my idea and he wants to meet tomorrow. So I hope will be our agreed first order of business, is that we can get us as essential, and that will quadruple our membership. And then we'll have the respect of all the other associations out there that did something that nobody else has been able to do. That's, I think, our easiest priority. And then it'll be the other things: changing Asian massage, getting lasers in our scope of practice. We're going to have a Council of Colleges committee, and we're going to need that, because if we're going to do injection therapy, then we have to discuss with the schools what the education requirements would be. So there's all these different little pieces, and I can't answer all the questions now because we don't have enough information yet. I wish I did. I wish I could have all the answers and everybody knew everything now. I have 10 times more anxiety than anybody here not knowing the answers, because I'm trying to explain it and I don't have the answers. So bear with me for not knowing all the answers. So does everybody here have a brief idea of how a law is made?
Yes.
Cool. Any questions?
None for now. I'm sure I'll formulate some later and maybe throw it into an email or Sunday.
Like, I'm a real idea person, and we have 11 people who are all really, really smart, and I love and respect each one of you. Some of you are new friends, and some of you I know a while. And I trust each of you to have ideas and share those ideas. And you may have an idea that you think is the greatest idea in the world, and the rest of us think it sucks. And you have to kind of get used to that. Like, I had Farshid over for dinner, and I made this incredible dinner, and everything didn't take long. It took an hour to make everything except for the soup. The soup took all day, and I couldn't wait for him to try the soup. And then he said, "I don't like soup." And I had to get over the fact that I really wanted him to like my soup. So it's the same thing with our other ideas. You know, we're going to have ideas, and some of us are going to agree and not agree. We just have to keep our egos in check and listen to each other's ideas and share stuff. Any comments? No? Boy, if I were a comedian, I'd be dying up here.
No, I just appreciate you, Neil. I thank you very much for taking me on, getting my back, and everybody else. I really appreciate you all being on this committee, and I'm hopefully gonna be able to serve all of you and everyone else in the field, just as I know all you all want to as well. So
Dr.
appreciate
Wynn
the
wasn't
opportunity.
here when I said something that was really important. Is the most important thing is our family and our practice, and CalAtma comes after that. And so if you're working on something and you don't have time, just say, "Hey, I don't have time." And we just respect you to say, not like, "Hey, you're a jerk, you said you'd do this." It's like, no, your kid needs you, and you know, you got to go to piano recital or whatever you got to go do, and we have to pick up the slack as a team, and that's why we're a team. So.
I'll try my best to support. Okay.
All right. Anybody else? The other thing that I really want to stress is that, like, CalAtma looks like California. In other words, every association in California is either Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, basically of an ethnic nature, other than CISOMA, which is just a small association. They have a big name, but they're a small association. So I really want to reach out. Like, Dr. Wynn is teaching this weekend at the Japanese Association. And although it's in English, they do have seminars in Japanese, and I want to open it up to other Japanese people. There are many Korean associations, and Sunny did CEs for her previous association. So Farshid wants to do education and academics. So Sunny and Farshid can work together so that we can do seminars in Korean and English, or partner, so that we can partner with the Japanese group and say, "Hey, listen, it's a Zoom meeting. How would you like an extra, 20 or 30 people, and raise some money for you?" And for the Korean Association, we could raise money for them, or they could raise money for us. So as a non-Asian person, my career has been being the only non-Chinese person, Japanese person, or Korean person at a meeting. and trying to find someone to translate for me. And I'm hoping that we can create just an idea for the next generation, that the next generation thinks of us not about my group is better than your group, but that our group is better than is a team. And we welcome everybody to the team so that eventually all California acupuncturists will look at us as Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Colombian, Mexican, gay, straight, fat, skinny, Canadian. I mean, we're a little bit of everything. And I really respect all of you for joining and trusting this experiment. This experiment is much like America. It's never been done, and it's certainly never been done in our profession in California. And we are 1/3 of the acupuncturists in America. So I truly believe with all my heart that this association run well will change the course of acupuncture in America. And I'm proud to be associated with all of you. And Farshid, I'm giving you the mic because I'm done talking for a minute.
No, just a very quick things, announcement that we will have one CU with Dr. Lee. And, as you know, Dr. Lee is very strong for many areas, including dermatology. And this will be happen on November 15 through the Zoom. So the information will be posted in few days in the website of Kalatma. So feel free if you want to invite the people or alert them to save the date for November 15, and we will post them, of course, very soon.
This is part of what I want to do, since we have nothing written down and there's a lot that we need to do, is brainstorming. So like Farshid came here last week and we were brainstorming about CEs, like 1 or 2 3-hour CEs a month, like the lunch hour, and maybe 1 6-hour, 8-hour a month. And we could start making money from acupuncturists, not just in California, but from all over the country, because we're going to put on really quality seminars, webinars. We have our annual meeting in October, but Farshid wants to do a symposium in the spring. So anybody who has ideas about any kind of seminar, any kind of education, anything that you want to learn, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about academics. It could be about practice management and practice building. The state is requiring an ethics class. So CalAtma, Farshid and I are designing an ethics class so that if everybody in California is required to take this class, CalAtma will have an advantage over everybody else to take it. Everybody knows that in order to pass your clean needle technique, you have to go through ACOM. ACOM charges $150 and they're about to go online. Farshid and I are already working on doing our own clean needle technique. I've already been talking to NCCM about approving our technique, our class, and we're going to charge less than $150 so that we could get acupuncturists. By the way, ACOM makes over $100,000 a year on their clean needle technique, or they were a couple of years ago. So this is a moneymaker for us, and it's not about the money. The money gives us an executive director who will be doing all this stuff instead of us volunteering. And that way we can just use our ideas and our brains and have somebody else do the grunt work. Anything else? All right, well, I got to go home and soak my hands and drink my herbs. And thank you. I love you all. Thank you very much for being here.
Good night. Thanks, Neil.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Congratulations, everyone.